days ago, talking about what you learned from the Fort Lauderdale airport shooting 13 months ago. Take a listen.
One of the key lessons we learned from the airport was the phenomenon of self-dispatching and not allowing deputies and police officers from all over the Tri-County area to just arrive haphazardly. And we had staging areas, and people who went to a staging area, and they were inserted into the mission in a common sense way, and everybody had a job to do.
See, that sounds to a lot of people like opposite of what police forces learned after Columbine, which is when you arrive, you don't wait, you run in.
I'm glad you asked that question. Jake, you're completely talking apples and oranges, and I'm glad you brought that up. When we have a horrific incident of any magnitude, and the incident is over, and people are arriving to help, and we know we have 5, 10, 12 hours of work to do. We have our deputies, police officers, firefighters go to staging areas so we can insert them in a clear and concise manner into the scenario, into the event. An active shooter is completely different. As people were coming to the airport, we didn't have an active shooter. He was already in custody 72 seconds after the event. This is an active shooter. We push to the entry, to the killer. We get in and we take out the threat. Completely different set of circumstances,
Sheriff,
Jake.
when did you find out that Deputy Peterson had not gone into the building? How soon after the shooting did you know that?
Not for days.
How many days?
Investigators looked. I'm not sure.
Because you spent much of the Wednesday night town hall on CNN with the entire Stoneman Douglas community, students and teachers and parents, attacking the NRA, saying that police need more powers, more money to prevent future tragedies. You didn't disclose any of this to the crowd then, the Stoneman Douglas high school community. Did you know it then? Did you know it Wednesday night?
It was spoken about during that, earlier during that day. I'm not on a timeline for TV or any news show. We need to get it right. We need to get it accurate. We're talking about people's lives. We're talking about a community. We need to corroborate. We need to verify. And once we did the next day, and I looked at the tape, and I was 100% certain that it happened the way I was told about. The investigators initially told about. I didn't even release it right that second.
You didn't look at the video? It was 1 week after the shooting. You hadn't looked at the video yet?
I looked at the video as soon as our investigators, it wasn't my job to look at the video, it was investigators' job to look at the video. I'm still sheriffing this county. There were many things to do. We have investigators, homicide investigators, internal affairs investigators dissecting it. And when they felt there was a video that ready for my view, that I might take action on one of our deputies, I looked at the video. And let me add this, Jake. Once I saw the video, the first order I gave was for our detectives to notify the families that those lost, the families. Yesterday, 10 a.m. tomorrow, the families come first. And I wanted to make sure the families knew what happened and what was about to happen.
The families were at the CNN town hall, sir. Sir, the families were at the CNN town hall, and you could have disclosed to them.
I couldn't disclose it then because there was no corroboration, Jake. There was no confirmation. We needed to dot I's and cross T's, and I certainly would not disclose it to a family at a town hall. Not every family was there. One of the families, Mr. Pollock, had gone to Washington, D.C. That's not the way you do things over a news camera. You do it individually. You meet privately with families. You have compassion. You don't do it at a public forum.
But your tone,
and we weren't ready to do it anyway.
Your tone at the public forum was rather belligerent towards the NRA, and you were talking about needing more police protection, more police funding and more police powers, and yet you knew,
that's not...
No, it's not. That wasn't your tone?
That's not true. Jake, that's not true at all. I wasn't belligerent towards the NRA. I took a passionate stance, as I always have, about common sense gun reform and expanding police ability throughout our country when we come in contact someone mentally ill, to take them to a facility to take guns away from them. There was no belligerence at all, and I completely disagree with you.
A medical